I'm Graham Jackson from Overland Passage, and today we're going to take a quick look around Abbey, my Defender 110 soft top that I used in the film Camp 6 Road, A Journey Through the Heart of the Chickaball. So Abbey started life as a Land Rover 110, back before they were called Defenders. Originally commissioned by the British military and was a two-door soft top. Originally started service in Bosnia, and for the early 90s was in Bosnia from 92 to 95, I believe. There's a brief period where we lost sight of what Abbey did. All right, around 2000, Abbey was under the program called Tithonus or Tithonus. It was a refresh program run by the British military that Land Rover did to update the vehicles for future service. Basically a life extension project. Basically all new bodywork, a new or refreshed 2.5 naturally aspirated diesel engine, LT77 gearbox, and they also added what was then called the Wolf roll cage. So the full roll cage package was put on, and the new soft top, and basically was a troop carrier at that point, so had bench seats in the rear, and this was never a fitted for radio truck, so it never had any radio gear on it. That's the condition I bought Abbey in, and in 2016 with some friends we imported 4 of these, and for a specific project that we were going to do, this was the one that turned out to be mine. Abbey was then sort of put in cold storage for a while because we didn't really know how that project that we bought them for was going to pan out. But I still pushed ahead with all of the updates that I planned to do for that project on this truck. For me, that was to put all of the best hardware components that Land Rover had ever made during their Defender period into this one vehicle. And so today I've got Abbey with basically what I consider the best hardware that Land Rover made. So we can have a quick look. Instead of the 2.5 naturally aspirated diesel, now has a 300 TDI turbo diesel with a bunch of ancillaries that were made by aftermarket manufacturers. So Allisport, big radiator, big intercooler, header tank, and an upgraded variable vane turbo. And a couple of other odds and ends that I like to pull off other generations of Land Rover Defenders. So it actually has the Wolf fuel filter mount here, which is a lot more sturdy than the standard Land Rover one. But otherwise, under here, completely stock. I rebuilt the engine from scratch, basically from a bare block, put in new rings, new head, new injection pump, all of that sort of stuff, brand new timing belt, and refreshed it to a basically brand new 300 TDI. So typically a 300 TDI would have come with an R380 gearbox. I decided that just for reasons of getting a lower first gear and a higher overdrive, or overdrive even the top gear, I wanted to put an MT82 gearbox behind this engine, which is the gearbox Land Rover used in the last generation of TDI Defenders. So it's the Ford MT82 that actually shows up in the Mustang as well, bizarrely enough. But it's a 6-speed manual transmission, so that's what it's got in it. A couple of other odd things about the front end here that we can take a look at since we're here. It's got a Wolf grille from the Wolf Land Rover Defenders, the military ones. Just as harken back to the old Series 3 days, I really like the headlight bezels that came with the Series 3, so I got some of those for it. And then because we're doing expeditions, and I can go into that a little bit more, what we're actually planning on doing with the truck, but it's got a copy of a Brown Church bumper and a winch on there as well, and also the crash plate underneath. So that was all put on for expedition purposes. All right, so the other cool thing about the MT82 6-speed I put in the inside here. It takes a little bit to do a conversion like that. I got the conversion kit from M&D in the UK. So the tunnel, transmission tunnel and all of that is basically out of a Puma Defender, so the 6-speed. And while I was searching around on the internet, because you had to buy all the parts for this, I came across the heritage gear levers for the last generation of Defenders. So they have the yellow around the gear shift and the red around the high range, low range diff lock shift. Sort of a throwback again to series trucks. And the fact that I spent $600 on each of those levers shows you how much of a Defender geek I actually am. Then it's got a transfer case that's basically stock transfer case, but it's instead of the 1.6 transfer case that the originally came with, it has a 1.4 transfer case. So the truck will do 85 on the highway, although it's really loud given that it's a soft top. Nothing else really on the inside has changed as far as upgrades go, but I did cut the Exmoor trim mats so that they to eliminate the portion that went over the transmission tunnel. Exmoor seats, which were also from the Tithonus upgrade program. But I did have to make a couple of changes just due to the way the military works with these trucks. The instrument binnacle was completely destroyed. I think the military is really tough on them. So this is from Raptor Engineering in the UK. This is all metal, which is really nice. I really like their products. And it's all got hex head cap screws on it, which look very nice. The steering wheel, as you can probably tell here, some squaddy was probably very bored sitting in this truck for a very long time, so they carved out all of the plastic in the Land Rover logo, which is a bit of history for the truck, I guess. And since this is an expedition truck and I do a lot of navigation when I'm doing expeditions, both recording and for finding out where we're going, I've got a mount for my GPS map 276CX right here from Garmin. Tuffy center console, both for security since the vehicle's a soft top and easy to reach into. I got the big one here with the cup holders. It's always nice to have cup holders. If you're in America, you have to have cup holders. They won't let you on the highway if you don't have them. So I had to put them in the truck. That's a joke. I also put on door cards. These are from Exmoor trim. They're just the soft door cards. There's still a smoke grenade from Belize sitting in this side panel, and gloves and things like that. Just really nice to have a little bit of extra storage there. Because the Land Rover has notoriously terrible electronics, and the hazard switch is a terrible thing in Land Rover from the Defenders. The hazard switch tends to corrode and go bad. So I've replaced that with a car-link switch and all of the associated stuff inside to try and update that to something that's a little bit more usable. As a military vehicle, it was just a pickup basically with a soft top on it, but that's all changed. Goose Gear put in a fantastic load packing system back here. All of these compartments down the side open up, and you can just drop bags into them, which is really nice. They're not really waterproof or dustproof, but they work really nicely for organizing personal gear down the sides here. And then there's a really big section here, which I usually put tools and recovery kits and things like that in. And then another compartment at the front. As we move around the back here, most of the outside stuff is still military. So bumperettes are still from the military, the tow hitch is still military. I did change the hinges on the back panel on the tailgate here so that it will flip down and also open sideways. Currently it's in open sideways mode. So if we just open the loose lock here, open her up, we've got some drawers for whatever kit we need. They are pretty long, they're as long as the fridge is, so that's really nice. Obviously 2 of them. So this is usually where we put food and just daily sundries like that. And the fridge is right here. Chose the ARB fridge, the outdoor one, because it's a pickup truck, right? And this is exposed to the elements. So this fridge is designed to be outside all the time. It does have a lock on it, so we can lock it if needed, and then opens up nicely. Easy access to get your cold food and drinks. So the other thing that Brian at Goose Gear did was he happened to have a experimental flip down table for I believe a Ford Bronco that was never used. So it fit perfectly on the back door of Abby. So we now have a flip down table here, which is always great for food prep and things like that when you're around the back of the truck. Panels in the back here are exactly the same as on that side. And now on this side, I can reach this latch, so I can pop that open. And this forward panel is where currently I have the second battery system. So this is from National Lunar, supplied by Paul at Equipt. And it's got a DC to DC converter in it, and also the large battery that we use for basically running the GPSs and all of the science projects, and also the fridge. All right, military trucks have the side compartments here for jerry cans. I've converted, instead of using them for fuel, I've been using them for water. So on this side, we've got 2 water jerry cans. On the other side, we've got 2 Dometic cans, basically used when we were on expedition in Belize the last time. So if I do need fuel, I can either swap them out for fuel here if I need it, or use them for water. So it works really well since it's such a dynamic system. Underneath, the truck is basically stock. We've got a OME suspension on it, which has got about a 2.5-inch lift, so that's why it sits really tall at the back here. Original wheels, these are Wolf steel wheels from the British military. So the tires I selected for going to Central America for our latest expedition were BF Goodrich KM3 mud terrains, and these ones are specifically in 255 85 R16 size, a little bit taller than the 235 75 R16s that I typically run, but it's a really good size for the jungle. It's a little bit taller, gives you a little bit more clearance in the deep ruts. Half shafts are from Dave Ashcroft, because the ones from the British military used were 10 spline, and the ones that were in this truck were actually a little bit loose and had obviously seen a lot of action. So swap those out for Dave Ashcroft's strongest half shafts in 24 spline, because I also upgraded this truck to disc brakes at the back. These vehicles originally came with discs at the front and drums at the back. Drum brakes really don't give you anything, and so you might as well swap them out for disc brakes. And it's a pretty easy conversion on a Defender axle. So those are all disc brakes now. In the passenger compartment, cool thing here is we've got a map light that the military used. They're pretty dim, but it's kind of a cool little holdover from the military truck. We do have a USB connector here, because I was running cell phones and things like that. And then also another charge line here for another GPS, because on the recent expedition in Belize, we were running the 276CX here, and then another Garmin 276 on a RAM mount attached to the windshield. One cool thing about the military trucks is that they have a very complicated headlight switch, and actually this is a switch for all of the lights in the truck. So you can do headlights as normal, you can also do just tail lights, you can switch off any of the other lights individually and run the external lights all individually if you want to. And then you've also got the convoy light, which is a little light that shines on the back of the rear diff, which is painted white, so that vehicles behind this vehicle can see where this vehicle is, and it's basically invisible from aircraft flying over or people watching. So really cool little convoy light that I'm going to keep on the truck. So that's Abby, the now Defender 110 soft top, and let me know what you think in the comments below. If you've got any questions, we can definitely get those answered for you. This is an evolution, obviously. This vehicle is not complete yet. There'll be a lot more things coming onto it as we move into different projects and do different things and different expeditions with it. Cool, let me know what you think.